A man's sexual desire is not as surface level as the world often believes. Yes, physical appearance can spark attraction, the curve of a body, the sway of movement, a lingering gaze. But what truly arouses a man, what stirs something deep and magnetic in him, goes far beyond what he sees. It lives in what he feels. A man may chase beauty, but he becomes addicted to energy. He might crave the body, but he surrenders to the essence. What arouses him the most is not skin deep, it's soul deep. When a woman enters a room not to impress, but simply to be fully present, fully alive in her body, she awakens a man's instincts on a primal level. Not because she's performing, but because she's surrendered to her own feminine essence. That soft power, that quiet confidence, that unbothered mystery, it triggers his attention without trying. It's not about what she's wearing, it's about what she's emitting. Radiance is arousing, aliveness is erotic. Femininity in its raw, unapologetic form creates a gravitational pull that no logic can explain. A man may notice beauty, but it's not what makes him stay. Physical appearance might catch his eye for a moment, but it's the depth of a woman's presence that stirs something primal and unforgettable within him. Feminine presence is a form of silent magnetism, a vibration, a rhythm, a living essence that speaks louder than words, louder than curves, louder than anything she's wearing. When a woman is truly in her body, connected to her breath, her emotions, her energy, she becomes irresistible in a way that has nothing to do with perfection and everything to do with embodiment. Presence is not about being still or passive. It is about being fully here. It's the way she listens without rushing to respond, the way she moves without effort, the way she smiles not to please but because she's feeling something real. It's the way her energy lingers in a room even after she's walked out. When a woman is connected to herself, not performing, not people-pleasing, not trying to impress, she becomes a mirror for a man's longing. She awakens not just his desire to touch her, but his desire to be touched by her, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, energetically. Most men are surrounded by visual stimulation all day. They see bodies, filters, poses, but rarely do they feel true feminine presence. That unspoken stillness that doesn't chase or convince, but simply exists in her natural rhythm. That presence disarms a man. It slows his thoughts. It pulls him out of the constant doing and into a deeper state of being. Her presence reminds him of something sacred, something he didn't even realize he was starving for. It's not her looks that make her unforgettable. It's the way he felt in her energy. When a woman is embodied, meaning she is in touch with her sensuality, her emotions, her intuition, she becomes radiant in a way that transcends beauty. Her energy becomes magnetic. She doesn't need to say much because her being speaks louder than her words ever could. A man feels this presence as a soft tension, a pull, a curiosity that he can't explain. He becomes drawn not only to her body, but to the mystery behind her gaze, the truth in her silence, the depth in her softness. This kind of presence cannot be faked. It comes from a woman who has turned inward and claimed her power not through control, but through connection. She is not perfect, but she is real, and in a world full of distractions, her presence becomes the rarest and most arousing thing of all. A man may forget a pretty face, but he never forgets the woman who made him feel alive just by being there fully. That's the feminine frequency that lingers, not just in his memory, but in his desire to return again and again to the place where he felt most human, most wanted, most drawn into the mystery of her essence. A man's deepest arousal isn't rooted in what he sees, it's rooted in what he feels. While visual attraction can ignite the spark, it's emotional and energetic connection that sustains and intensifies the flame. This kind of connection is not about chemistry in the conventional sense. It's about resonance. It's about two people vibrating on a similar frequency where energy passes between them like a silent current, felt, not forced. When a woman reaches him, not just through touch or appearance, but through emotional presence and energetic awareness, his desire doesn't just awaken, it deepens. Most men are trained to focus on performance, to impress, to prove, to pursue. But beneath that conditioning lies a quieter truth. Men crave to feel accepted, seen and safe to fully express who they are. When a woman can meet him there, emotionally and energetically, it opens a different kind of door. Suddenly, desire is no longer just physical. It becomes psychological, spiritual, even soulful. He becomes aroused not only by her body, but by the way she sees him, not through judgment or expectation, but through a deeper understanding of his inner world, his fears, his intensity, his hunger to be chosen, not for what he can do, but for who he truly is. An energetic connection is often silent. It's the way she looks at him when he's not speaking, the way she breathes when he touches her, the subtle shift in her body language when he moves closer. These small, almost invisible cues speak louder than words. They tell him he is not alone in the moment, that she is with him, fully, completely, and without an agenda. That depth of attunement, her ability to feel him without needing to fix or direct, creates a field of safety where he can surrender to the experience of connection, not just chase an outcome. Emotional connection, on the other hand, allows arousal to become layered. It's not just about climax, it's about the journey of getting there. It's about feeling emotionally naked and still accepted. When a woman listens without interrupting, when she responds with warmth instead of control, when she opens her heart instead of closing off, he doesn't just feel turned on, he feels invited. That invitation is powerful. It tells his nervous system that he can let go, that he can explore, express, even expose parts of himself without fear of shame. In that emotional openness, desire becomes more than instinct. It becomes bonding. True arousal begins in the unseen, in the energy she holds, the emotions she allows, and the space she creates. When she can meet him emotionally, not just sexually, she becomes unforgettable. Because she doesn't just stimulate his body, she awakens his soul. And once a man has tasted that depth of connection, no surface-level experience will ever satisfy him again. He will crave her not just as a lover, but as a reflection of something deeper he thought he'd never find, the freedom to be fully aroused by being fully felt. Erotic tension is not born in what is shown. It is born in what is withheld. What truly ignites a man's desire isn't exposure, but mystery. It's the not knowing, the slow unfolding, the sense that there is always more to discover. When a woman embodies both mystery and contrast, she awakens a deeper level of craving in a man, not just to have her, but to understand her, to unlock the layers of her presence one moment at a time. This slow, sensual unraveling of her energy becomes a powerful source of erotic tension that stays with him long after the moment ends. Mystery doesn't mean playing games. It means being fully expressed while never giving everything away at once. It's the woman who is open yet still holds something back, not out of fear, but from a deep self-possession. It's the subtle look in her eyes that suggests a secret he may never fully access. It's the unpredictable rhythm of her emotions, soft one moment, fiery the next, that keeps him on edge in the best way. This emotional contrast, this movement between vulnerability and strength, gentleness and boldness, draws him deeper into her presence. She becomes more than a person. She becomes an experience. Arousal thrives on anticipation, and anticipation lives in the spaces where nothing is rushed. When a woman allows herself to be fully in the moment without trying to satisfy or complete it, She creates space for tension to build. That tension is what keeps a man present. When everything is predictable, arousal fades. But when he doesn't know what version of her he'll encounter, the nurturing softness or the seductive wildness, his attention sharpens, his desire lingers. He starts to crave the unknown inside her. The contrast between light and dark, between surrender and control, between openness and elusiveness, this is the emotional terrain that erotic energy lives in. A man feels most alive when he is being invited in, not handed everything. The more space she holds for him to reach her, the more effort he invests, and that effort, that yearning, makes the eventual connection more electrifying. Desire expands in the presence of contrast because it creates emotional depth. She becomes more than one-dimensional. She becomes a landscape of sensation, emotion, and mystery that he wants to explore endlessly. Men are not just aroused by what is in front of them, but by what lies beneath. When a woman shows a part of herself but keeps a sacred piece hidden, not to tease, but because she honors her own inner world, he is captivated. That restraint becomes power, that mystery becomes magnetism, and that contrast between what he can touch and what he can't quite grasp keeps the erotic current alive. She doesn't just stir his body, she stirs his imagination. And when a man's imagination is ignited, his desire becomes infinite. A man's raw desire isn't just physical, it's deeply emotional, hidden beneath layers of performance pressure and silent expectations. While the world often tells men to be dominant, unshaken, and always in control, the truth is that many men are silently longing for a space where they don't have to hold it all together. A space where they are not judged, not compared, not measured, a space where they can be real without fear of rejection. That space is not created through logic or words, it's created through emotional safety. And when a woman can offer that kind of presence, it doesn't make him weak, it unlocks the very part of him that's been waiting to feel deeply, not just act confidently. That's where his raw, unfiltered desire lives. Men are often aroused in the body, but they truly surrender when they feel safe in the heart. When a woman creates an atmosphere where he feels accepted, not for what he does, but for who he is, he can finally let down his guard. And in that letting go, his desire becomes more potent, more connected, more alive. This isn't about softening his masculinity. It's about allowing the full spectrum of his masculine and emotional nature to emerge. A safe emotional space tells him, "You don't have to prove anything here, you are already enough." That unspoken message pierces through his defenses and reaches a deeper center of arousal, one rooted not in performance, but in vulnerability. When he no longer feels the need to impress or dominate, a more authentic, animalistic side of him surfaces. He feels drawn not just to her body, but to the experience of being seen and accepted by her. He desires her not just for pleasure, but because she gives him the freedom to stop pretending, and that freedom creates a bond far stronger than lust alone. She becomes his sanctuary, the one place where he can be wild and gentle, strong and soft, rough and tender, without having to choose just one. This emotional safety is not passivity, it's deep attunement. It's the woman who doesn't flinch when he reveals his shadow. It's the gaze that doesn't shift when he shares his truth. It's the energy that stays steady even when his emotions come in waves. When she meets him without judgment, his nervous system relaxes, and in that relaxation, arousal grows, not just in the body, but in the soul. His desire becomes rooted, not reactive. It gains depth, it gains power, and he begins to crave her not only for how she looks or moves, but for how she makes him feel, accepted, welcomed, wanted. Ultimately, a man's deepest desire isn't just to take, it's to be taken in fully, and that only happens when he feels emotionally safe. That safety is not weakness, It's the soil in which his strongest, most passionate expression of love and lust can finally grow. There is a quiet, almost forgotten truth about intimacy that many overlook in a world obsessed with speed, gratification, and visual performance. What touches a man most deeply, what creates lasting soul-level arousal, is not how quickly desire is fulfilled or how flawlessly an act is performed, but how present, slow, and intentional the connection feels. When intimacy is approached as a performance, it becomes hollow, predictable, and disconnected. But when it is treated as a sacred unfolding, one that honors time, energy, breath, and emotion, it becomes unforgettable. In the space of slowness, a deeper form of magic awakens, one that performance can never manufacture. Slow, intentional intimacy asks both people to show up fully, not just with their bodies but with their hearts, with their nervous systems, with their attention. It means touching without rushing, looking without distraction, breathing together without the need to push the moment forward. This slowness is not about delay for its own sake, it's about depth. A man does not remember the woman who tried the most techniques. He remembers the one who made him feel like time stopped, like every part of him was being explored, seen, and cherished with care. Performance demands results, but intention creates presence, and presence creates safety. When a man feels that his partner is not trying to impress him or follow a script, but is instead deeply tuned in, feeling him, noticing his breath, adjusting to his rhythm, he drops out of his head and into his body. He stops thinking about what he's supposed to be doing and starts feeling what is actually happening. That shift, subtle but profound, awakens a raw and honest form of arousal that can't be faked. It's not about how things look, it's about how deeply both people are experiencing one another.